your seats. Also in the gallery are students of Northbridge Academy, all the way from Federal Housing Authority, Nupe, Abuja. They are already standing. A round of applause for them. Thank you for coming. Kindly take your seats. Announcement: the Committee on Nigeria-US Friendship Group Interparliamentary Relations organizing an interactive session with the U.S. Ambassador to Nigeria today, Tuesday, 13th February 2018, meeting room 244 at 1:30 p.m. Members of the Friendship Group are invited to attend. Announcer is Honorable E.J. Aboima. Announcement: appointment as live bencher. I have the pleasure to inform you and my esteemed colleagues, body of benchers at the meeting of 8th February 2018, selected from among the benchers a few members, including my humble self, who were made live benchers. This is a great honor to me, as it is the most distinguished body in the legal profession, which as of now is chaired by the Chief Justice of Nigeria. Thank the Honorable Speaker and all my colleagues of this great house for the support I've always enjoyed. May God bless you all. Announcer, Honorable Edward Pajok, SN. Congratulations. Any member who has a petition to present to the House may please rise to do so. Any petition? No petition. Okay, we move to the first order of the day. Chairman Rules and Business, you will just serve as both the acting leader and Chairman Rules and Business, maybe, because the seat is vacant. I thought the Deputy Whip was around. Of a bill for an act to repeal the National Commission for Refugees Act. I realized that you see me, you didn't see me, so it's like you're forfeited the right to move your point of order. The first order of the day is the third reading of a bill for an act to repeal the National Commission for Refugees Act, Chapter N21, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and to reenact the National Commission for Internally Displaced Persons, Refugees, Stateless, and other persons of concern, to provide a framework for durable solutions to victims of displacement for related matters. Honorable members will recall that the House adopted the report of the Committee of the Whole on the bill on Thursday, 25th January 2018, and therefore call on the Leader of the House to move that the bill be now read the third time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Okay, Jeff. I represent the good people of Buruku, my dear colleagues. I'm from Plenary State, and until Honorable Femi takes his seat, the acting leader of the House, I move that a bill for an act to repeal the National Commission for Refugees Act, Cap N21, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and reenact the National Commission for Internally Displaced Persons, Refugees, Stateless, and other persons of concern to provide a framework for durable solutions to victims of displacement and for related matters. We read the third time. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, I so move.
Jimo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Jimo Abdulrahim Olajide. I represent the Gospel Avera constituency in Lagos State. I stand to second the motion as moved by the chairman, President Arose.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to repeal the National Commission for Refugees Act, Chapter M21, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, and reenact the National Commission for Internally Displaced Persons, Refugees, Stateless, and other persons of concern to provide a framework for durable solutions to victims of displacement and for related matters. Third reading.
Bill is read the third time and passed. Second order of the day, honorable colleagues, is the third reading of the bill for an act to establish the Nigeria Police Trust Fund and for related matters. Honorable members will recall that the House adopted the report of the Committee of the Whole on the bill on Tuesday, 30th January 2018. Therefore, call on the Leader of the House to move the bill be now read the third time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I rise to move that the bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Police Trust Fund and for related matters, HB 894, be read the third time. I so move.
Rules and business.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Okay, Jeff. I represent the good people of Buruku, my dear colleagues, from Plenary. My dear colleagues, Order 18, Rule 3 establishes a committee known as Rules and Business. So those calling me Chairman, Business and Rules should support me. I rise to second the motion for the third reading of the bill as moved by the Chairman, by the Leader of the House.
Especially those that are mischievous about it. Honorable colleagues, the question is that the bill be now read the third time. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to establish the Nigeria Police Trust Fund and for related matters. Third reading.
Bill read the third time and passed. Third order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to establish the Abuja Broadcasting Corporation to provide independent and impartial broadcasting service for general reception through the Federal Capital Territory and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Uzom Inkem Abonta. Honorable members who recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 5th December 2017. I now invite Honorable Abonta to move the bill be now read the second time.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I remain Uzoma Inkem Abonta, Mr. Speaker, and President Bukhari, for West Part of Adia. Mr. Speaker, may I move that a bill for an act to establish the Abuja Broadcasting Corporation to provide independent and impartial broadcasting services for the general reception through the Federal Capital Territory and for related matters like read for the second time. I so move.
Honorable Hassan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, Hassan Saleh. I represent the people of Ado, Obadi, Federal Constituency, Speaker, and from Plenary. Speaker, I rise to second the motion that the bill for an act to establish the Abuja Broadcasting Corporation to provide independent and impartial broadcasting service for general reception through the Federal Capital Territory and for other related matters be read for the second time. I so second speaker.
Honorable Abonta, please lead the debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with all sense of my legislative duties and in compliance with the constitutional framework of Nigeria, I personally feel the constitutional framework of Nigeria recognizes Abuja as a state and also vests legislative powers in the National Assembly. Therefore, I deem the place legislating for Abuja Federal Capital Territory to bring this bill that will fill the gaps and provide all the legal framework required for smooth administration of the Federal Capital Territory. Broadcasting in Abuja is not regulated or guided by any form of legal regime. It's free for all, done by everybody for all. The MCD regulates for the whole federation. Therefore, to regulate the status or to bring to be because of Abuja and that of the state in the broadcasting industry, this bill is very, very necessary that they may have legal framework to do that. The bill covers purely FCT and no more. The bill seeks to give guidance, legal framework, upon which broadcasting in Abuja, be it television, radio, perhaps any other new device that may come, will be regulated. It also exists in other states. We have Lagos State Broadcasting Commission, we have Abia State, Plateau, and all whatnot. Therefore, Abuja should have theirs, not only regulating that, and also defining what workers therein will be. It's a very straightforward one, but also in trying to do that which the Commission bestowed on us as the legislative house of FCT. We must do that and many other more, so we have a smooth and clean administration, and therefore all my colleagues to fill in the gap. Mr. Speaker, you observe that most agencies that ought to be in Abuja remain absent due to prolonged military presence. Now the military are no longer there. We have no reason in democracy not to bring Abuja to the required desire of those who capture the constitution. And therefore, all my colleagues please pass this bill and not just passing it and make haste to see that the motion comes to exist. Otherwise, person operating in the broadcasting industry will not only just be illegally, but will be without any form of regulation. I therefore move this.
Chairman, Rules and Business.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Okay, Jeff. I represent the group people of Buruku, my dear colleagues. I'm from Benue State. Mr. Speaker, I'm finding it very difficult to come to terms with the essence of this bill, Abuja Broadcasting Corporation. When it did, we have the Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation that takes care of all such matters across the nation. So why would Abuja, that is in the eyes of the constitution seen like a state of its own, begin to seek for an independent broadcasting corporation outside of the National Broadcasting Corporation? That is exactly what I've been scratching my head all the while that Honorable Abonta was moving his bill. So, if we duplicate it, the implication is that we'll begin to have every state having its own broadcasting corporation, independent broadcasting corporation, different of the National Broadcasting Corporation, which by its provisions is supposed your lead. Well, the summary of this bill, this law, is that it's supposed to regulate all broadcasting issues across the country. So it doesn't make sense that Honorable Aponta will rise up and telling us to set up another broadcasting corporation in the Federal Capital Territory, where the nation's capital is situated. I think this Honorable Aponta should be advised to withdraw this. Otherwise, we will have a duplication of this kind of thing all over the country, and it will make no sense.
Honorable Aponta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate the efforts of the chairman, Rules and Business, but it's highly misconceived. The broadcasting commission he's talking of regulates the entire broadcasting modality in Nigeria. He's aware that there is Plenary Broadcasting Corporation, there is Broadcasting Corporation of Abia State, there is Lagos State Broadcasting Corporation, and the constitution he quoted gives Abuja the status of a state. And National Assembly, to make laws for Abuja, we are mere local states, what they do. Because I'm sure you agree with me, there is Black State Broadcasting Corporation, there is one in Benue, there is one in Lagos, there is one in Abia. Of course, there are some workers and all whatnot there. They are bound to operate as per the state. Whereas, just like saying, because we have transport ministry of the federation, we should not have transport ministry of a state. I mean, if Abuja remains a state, for all indications, they must have what will guide them in federal departments. I appreciate the effort, but I want you to look at what are the efforts of the Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation, who are there to monitor. It is the Broadcasting Corporation he's mentioning that monitors that of Lagos, that monitors that of Abia, that monitors that of Rivers State and whatnot. Are we going to deny Abuja having their own now? And therefore, I think that we should be there to.
Minority Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Yakubu. I want to agree with the overall motion of the bill that the National Assembly is saddled with the responsibility of making law for the FCT. And even if for us having a Abuja Broadcasting Corporation, for me, I don't think in any way it contradicts the Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation, because this state of the federation, if need be, have their own broadcasting corporation. And the law establishing their broadcasting corporation is done by the state's houses of assembly. And so if the National Assembly makes laws for the FCT, I think there's nothing contradictory about it. And after all, this bill is going to go through the public scrutiny. And if there is need for it to be, why not? For me, I don't think it contradicts any constitution as far as I'm concerned. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was concerned about the bill as well on matters. Sector item 66 says wireless, broadcasting and television other than broadcasting and television provided by the government of a state. By implication, the government of the state, which is what we are and what we are sitting as, has jurisdiction and powers to legislate on broadcasting. Again, let me read for emphasis. Item 66, that the National Assembly can legislate on wireless, broadcasting and television other than broadcasting and television provided by the government of the state. So, in terms of broadcasting, the state can legislate on broadcasting. So I believe Abuja broadcasting comes within the purview of the state. It's a gray area. It hasn't been just said, and I think to have observed this was actually a good observation from the chairman, rules and business. But unfortunately, the it stands on very good grounds as far as the Constitution is concerned. Thank you.
Lagos mainland.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. Well, Honorable Abonta has set the ball rolling already, and the leader has cleared the air. I wanted to say that before because we are only trying to establish a new broadcasting corporation for Abuja, federal capital. We are within the ambit of the legislation, and we have not trespassed. We cannot go and legislate for broadcasting corporation in Lagos. Likewise, we can't go to Imo to do same or go to Sokoto to do same. Therefore, here, what we are doing today, at least we are in order. The merit and merits of this bill is of necessity. And I want to say that this bill is an opportunity for the Federal Capital Territory that a new broadcasting corporation other than Nigeria Broadcasting Corporation will be established for the purpose of Federal Capital Territory. Two, it's also very important and good that this will create job opportunity for a teeming Nigeria within Abuja territory or any other place. Three, sir, Mr. Speaker, this bill is an added advantage to the media itself so that it cannot be limited because Nigeria is having a wider scope. And we are graduating journalists day in, day out. People are reading mass communication here and there in universities, in polytechnic, in college of technology, and so on and so forth. When after they have completed, where will they work? There is need for us to establish this kind of broadcasting corporation for the purpose of the opportunity that are there for our people. Mr. Speaker, you are in order, you are in line, and I support the bill. Thank you very much.
Is it Honorable Femi? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Olufemi Adebanjo. I represent Alimosho, Lagos State. Mr. Speaker, this is another advantage for the Broadcasting Corporation in Nigeria. Duplication should not be an offense. The advantage is an employment. This broadcasting station will reduce the unemployment percentage and people will be more informed. Information is very crucial in Abuja, in Nigeria, in every state. For any state not to have a broadcasting corporation, they are shortchanged when it comes to information. As a result, I support this motion and I pray that the broadcasting corporation will be allowed to stay. I also pray that the unemployment percentage in Nigeria will be reduced and the people studying mass communication will be at an advantage. This is my submission, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Any more contributor? Honorable Kaide.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Kayode Oladele. I represent Egbado North and the Mekwa Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I'm from Ogun State. Mr. Speaker, I would like to associate myself and align myself with the submissions of my colleagues. In particular, the legality and the constitutionality of this exercise. The only area that I want to talk about, Mr. Speaker, is in respect of whether it should be named Abuja Broadcasting Corporation or Federal Capital Territory Broadcasting Corporation. Because we know that Federal Capital Territory has some other municipalities
and local government bodies. So it should, in my opinion, it should reflect Federal Capital Territory Broadcasting Corporation instead of Abuja Broadcasting Corporation. I believe, Mr. Speaker, I haven't said that. This is something that we can correct when this bill passes through the second reading and we go to the committee stage. Without much ado, Mr. Speaker, I would like to align myself with the submission of my predecessors that we should allow this bill to go through. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable colleagues have put the question. Let me bring the letter here. Clerk. Rules of business.
Mr. Speaker, I think the idea is at the end of the day, we should bring up a law that will stand the test of time. I just want to read the provisions of the Nigerian Broadcasting Act. That is the provisions of the Nigerian Broadcasting Act and Act of the National Assembly. Just one, if you allow me. So the powers of the Commission is that the Commission shall have responsibility of receiving, processing, and considering applications for the establishment, ownership, or operation of radio and television stations, including cable television services, direct satellite broadcast, and any other medium of broadcasting, and 2, radio and television stations owned, established, or operated by the federal, state, or local government. This is a law that we already have in place. So, I mean, it's neither here nor there. I find it very confusing that this was seeking to do something that is already covered by this without amending this. That has been my worry, Mr. Speaker.
Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I hate to do this. Having stood up earlier on to quote a relevant provision in our Constitution. But on further examination of that provision, Mr. Speaker, which is item 66, I don't know if the Speaker can follow, because this is a very important argument. Like he said, it will not be nice for us to pass laws and then have it nullified. Mr. Speaker, let me read it again, because it appears that an in-depth understanding of that provision says wireless broadcasting and television other than broadcasting and television provided by the government of the state. But then it goes on to say the National Assembly shall have powers of allocation of wavelengths for wireless broadcasting and television transmission. So the exclusive right to the allocation of wavelengths, which I believe is an integral part of broadcasting, belongs to the federal government. And perhaps I can understand why. For every law, there's a reason for it. And perhaps the reason for it is because broadcasting has security implications. It has security implications. Transmission and all of those things have security implications. And perhaps that is why the framers of the Constitution have carefully put that within the orbit of the jurisdiction or the jurisdiction of the national party as looked at it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Bonta, right of reply, and they will decide.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The issues appear confusing, but it's not. I would have obliged stepping it down to bring it back, but most matters have been stepped down here. Don't make the other paper again or in the next short. Therefore, I want to canvass it fully. There is no confusion, the papers are clear. The law still remains that for you to be licensed, you must go through what the rules and business cited. I have not talked about licensing. If I apply for a radio license now, I must go through one source. If I'm broadcasting and the content of the workers and all whatnot must be regulated by somewhere else. It's just like you buying a vehicle, you want to license the vehicle. There's a source. But as to how you operate on the roads and all whatnot can be done locally. For example, if I buy a vehicle now, I go and register it, I register in Lagos City, but at a source. But how I drive it and where I park it and what I do about it is done locally, state and all whatnot. If Abuja remains a state, or is deemed to be a state, why are we going to deny them what other states enjoy? The laws are very clear. There is no confusion in it. But just that what they seem to be interpreting the thing out of context. If you look at the totality of this bill or the HB, we are not talking about licensing and all whatnot. But for example, there are also people who work there. The essence of public hearing is for experts. The essence of public hearing rules and business and leaders is for experts to come and look at it. Rather than stepping it down to set up a committee to look at it, will be wasting our, I'm right, sir? Yes, I'm right. You agree with me, I'm right. We'll be wasting our legislative time. Therefore, let the committee look at it. I'm not talking about licensing. I'm not talking about, I'm talking about when you are licensed, how will you operate in Abuja? What will you do? What manner of hate speech or love speech are you going to put there? What manner of thing, how are you going to pay your workers? Do they have a right to strike or whatever or collective bargain? That is the prerogative of the state. Therefore, we are in line, we are in order, we are not offending any, there is no infraction in the law or the constitution as done. Therefore, I plead my honorable colleague that what is good for the goose is good for the gander. Let's allow this pass so that Abuja will also enjoy that status as Lagos enjoyed, as Benue enjoyed, as my own state enjoyed. They all have their various names in their states. In Abia, it's called Broadcasting Corporation of Abia State. Therefore, I pray that you put the question, let me go there so that we have the status. I so submit, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Engineer Farouk.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Engineer Omar Farouk, representing the good people of Building Chemical Government of Federal Council. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, honestly, I rise to add up to the debate only because I want to draw our attention to the provisional, the constitutional provision with regards to the Federal Capital Territory. Under Chapter 8, Part 1, Section 299, it says the provision of this Constitution, if I may read, Mr. Speaker, the provision of this Constitution shall apply to the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, as if it were one of the states of the Federation, and accordingly, powers vested in the House of Assembly, the Governor of the state, and in the courts of the state shall respectively vest in the National Assembly. Mr. Speaker, these provisions means if a state can have broadcasting corporation, then there is no reason why FCT cannot have, because the Constitution has already given it a state status. And moreover, Mr. Speaker, FCT is an entity, and there are indigenous people called FCT indigenes, and they deserve also to have balanced information from the media. And how can that be granted except there is a law to regulate the practice of broadcasting in the FCT? So, Mr. Speaker, I believe if we go by the guide of the provisional provision, which I have just cited, then everything is clear and this bill should be allowed to go. After all, we are discussing the general principles, and when we go to the committee level, then the T's will be crossed properly and the dots will be done appropriately. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is my submission for a guide.
Point of order.
Please raise a point of order. Okay, rules and business.
No, Mr. Speaker, I am taking great exception and I move that Honorable Bonda, Mr. Speaker, I move that Honorable Bonda be made to withdraw the statement. He's claiming that matters that have been stepped down. He's claiming that matters that have been stepped down on the floor of the House never make it back to the floor. I think that is not fair. That is a great indictment of the work of rules and business.
This was the one rule one. Honorable Abonta, if you made that statement, it's not true. So you better withdraw it. Because I know of so many matters that were referred to committees that came back here.
I sincerely apologize. I work with him. I know how difficult it's like. We labor assiduously. What I meant to say is that deferring this thing and setting up another committee will amount to taking legislative time. Rather than do that, send it to a committee Let the appropriate committee look at it and also do the needful. Rather than stepping that, that's what I'm trying to say. I sincerely apologize not to casting association at all. You're a hard-working committee chairman. You are the life wire of our survival here. I sincerely apologize.
Okay, leader, please, the two positions are almost valid, but the only argument that Abonta is not really emphasizing is the fact that he is asking us to sit as legislators for FCT, as a state, because we are the legislators for FCT so that we can establish a broadcast commission for the FCT as a state like any other state in Nigeria has done. That is the argument that he's making. And you know the Constitution, the particular section of the Constitution that you quoted exempts us from legislating for states. It said other than Broadcast Commission of States. So he's asking us to sit as legislators for the FCT as a state to establish a Broadcast Commission for the FCT.
Well, yeah.
So, yes, I want your opinion on that.
Absolutely, you're absolutely correct, and I understood him to say that during his right of reply. And if that is exactly what it is, then he's in order. But I don't know. I have not, unfortunately, which is an indictment on my part, I have not read the contents of his bill. I am only going by the long title of the bill. So if the contents, which is more important than the long title, if the contents actually infringe or impugn on the powers of the federal government to perhaps allocate wavelengths for wireless broadcasting and television transmission, then there's a problem. But if it's purely an administrative thing, that, oh, we want to have a TV station with this administrative thing, no problem. There's no infringement. That is why I felt it was better to err on the side of caution. To err on the side and tarry a while, another week, to read, to allow members to go through. And I know we're all supposed to have gone through because it has been gazetted, like you rightly said, before coming on the floor. But sometimes we do drop the ball and we are not able to go through every single bill on the appointed day. This one is such that the contents are very important. They have security implications, like I said. And if it involves issuing of licenses and all those other things that may touch on security, transmission, and the rest of it, then I think it might be an exercise in futility at the end of the day. But if it's just as he said, we just want to have a broadcasting whatever commission, we want to have a TV station, then that's fine. So it's well.
Okay, I think that's the work the committee can do. I don't know if you have an inexhaustible right of this thing. Okay, Honorable Abonta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There's not much about this. This is just this community go. Mr. Speaker, you said it all. In my opening speech, I said with all sense of legislative duty, in compliance with the constitutional requirement, if we must keep Abuja as a state, And what is bestowed on us to legislate in Abuja, that was my opening paragraph, that we are doing the needful as required by us. Rather than allow members to go home and read in the public, that's why it's on notice. The issue of long title and content is a matter of the committee stage. That's why we have standing committees. That's why the matter is also referred to relevant committees. After studying, they do a public hearing. The committee could change the title entirely. Therefore, put the question, send it to the committee, and do the needful. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
No problem. The committee is best suited in the process of conducting the public hearing to make appropriate recommendations to the House. So I'll put the question, and the question is that the bill be now read the second time. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Impartial broadcasting service for general reception through the Federal Capital Territory and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to Committee on Federal Capital Territory. Fourth order of the day, honorable colleagues, commencement of debate on the general principles of Bill for an Act to amend the Value Added Tax Act, Chapter V1, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2014, ensure harmony and uniformity in the exercises of statutory authority and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Rita Oji. Honorable members who recall the bill was read the first time on Thursday, 30th November 2017. I now invite Honorable Oji to move that the bill be now read the second time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and distinguished colleagues. My name is Rita Oji, member representing Ajeromi, fellow of the Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Lagos State. I rise to move that the bill for an act to amend the value-added tax cap 6, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to ensure harmony and uniformity in the exercise of statutory authority and for related matters be read the second time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder, Honorable Lisa Jesse.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My honorable colleague, I remain Honorable Alisa Jesse, representing Balanga Plenary Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleague, I am from Gombe State. I rise to second the bill moved by my very reliable colleague, Honorable Rita Oji. Thank you.
Honorable Rita, lead the debate, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and distinguished colleagues once again. My name is Rita Oji, member representing Ajeromi, fellow of the Federal Constituency from Lagos State. Mr. Speaker, sir, and distinguished colleagues, the bill is a straightforward bill. What it tends to achieve is to streamline and reassert the power of legislators in the lawmaking process and even in the items that are in the exclusive legislative list. This amendment is aimed at reasserting the powers vested on the National Assembly of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Section 4, Subsection 1, which affirms that the legislative power of federal government of Nigeria shall be vested in the National Assembly for federation, which shall consist of the Senate and the House of Representatives. In addition to, without the prejudice to the powers concerned inter alia, subsection 2 of this section, the National Assembly shall have the power to make laws in respect to following matters contained in Part 1, Second Schedule of the Constitution on line item 58 and 59 as regards to taxation, profits, capitals, and gains, except otherwise prescribed by the Constitution. Section 38 of the Principal Act is to be amended, therefore, by exiting the clause by order published by the Gazette and substituting therein the following clause by in consultation with the National Assembly. Mr. Speaker and distinguished colleagues, The only thing we need to do here is to make sure that the power of lawmaking process, which is vested in the National Assembly, belongs to them, in order that those items mentioned in exclusive legislative list are all powers that National Assembly can legislate on. Mr. Speaker and distinguished colleague, I urge you members to support this bill because it puts to a stop to powers that are being usurped by executive bodies without recourse to that one that belongs to National Assembly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker and distinguished colleagues.
Honorable Pachok.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues. Mr. Speaker, may I commend our colleague, Honorable Rita Oji, for being very, very patriotic and proactive. Mr. Speaker, this law is an inherited law from the military era because they were the ones that promulgated the value-added tax law. And if that law was relevant at that time, Mr. Speaker, it can be relevant to today. This is because there is a danger that if the existing law, which gives the minister the power to amend the rate of tax chargeable and to amend, vary or modify the list set out in the first schedule. Mr. Speaker, the implication is that the minister can wake up this morning and say, VAT, that's value-added tax has been increased to 10%, 20%, and it becomes a valid law because by this law, we are deemed to have delegated that power to the minister. So it is better for us to now amend in line with the bill proposed by our honorable colleague, Honorable Rita Oji, so that that power, which is a draconian power, is exercised only by the legislature. And we cannot do it without doing the needful, involving the public where other technocrats will also come and justify any amendment sought and also sensitize the public. So, Mr. Speaker, it's a very, very good bill, and I think it should be passed with the speed of light. Otherwise, one day, we're only lucky that no minister has averted his mind to the provisions of this bill. Otherwise, one day, the country would wake up and find out that the tax has been increased beyond what the public may be able to bear. So I urge honorable colleagues to please support this bill because it is in the national interest and also our interest as legislators. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Rules and business.
Mr. Speaker, I thought you are taking away the business. Okay, Jeff, I represent the good people of Buruku, my dear colleagues. I'm from Plenary State. Mr. Speaker, I join Honorable Rita and Honorable Pajok in agreeing that this bill should be allowed to go for second reading. Since it's just a one-line alteration amendment, I'll just focus on that. My problem is the way the amendment has been couched. It is saying that instead of by order published in the Gazette, we should have the new clause in consultation with the National Assembly. My take is that this is too fluid. This is neither here nor there. We are talking about the law. So if we are talking about the law, that we should be very emphatic what exactly we want in consultation with the National Assembly. Instead, I think we should say subject to confirmation of the National Assembly instead of that. So that is the only part. I agree that we should go for second reading.
Coyote.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Coyote Oladele. I represent Yewa North and the Mekwa Federal Constituency. I'm from Ogun State. Mr. Speaker, I would like to comment very briefly on this amendment. Mr. Speaker, I have seen it, and while I agree that the National Assembly has the power pursuant to the Constitution, I also feel that the amendment being sought can better be done if instead of deleting the word and then the word in consultation and then adding the word in consultation with the National Assembly, I think, Mr. Speaker, what we can do is to say that the minister may, in consultation with the National Assembly, publish. It still has to be published in the official gazette. That's the difference.
That's what I want to say there. The fact that the National Assembly has the power and we want to share that power with the minister does not take away from it the fact that it has to be published in the official gazette. Even if the law is made, that same law has to be published. So what he is saying that we should delete publication in the official gazette from the bill, I think, Mr. Speaker, this is not good enough. Rather, I would suggest that we should leave it the way it is, but add in consultation with the National Assembly. If that is done, I believe I would support this bill and it should be good to go. It's a very brief amendment this sort, but I think that if we delete what is asking us to delete, it will not do justice to the amendment this sort. We should rather add in consultation with the National Assembly, but leave the word publication in the official gazette. Because as I said earlier, Mr. Speaker, no matter what we do, we still have to pass, once we pass this law, we still have to publish it in the official gazette. Therefore, we cannot delete it from the Principal Act. I so submit, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Any more contributor to the debate? So I put the question. The question is the bill be now read the second time. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the bill for an act to amend the Value Added Tax Act, Chapter V1, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to ensure harmony and uniformity in the exercise of statutory authority and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to the Committee on Finance. Fifth order of the day is a motion on discharge of committees from referrals and bills pursuant to Order 17, Rule 31G of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives, standing in the name of Honorable E.Y. Okejev. Honorable Okejev is now invited to move the motion.
Thank you once again, Mr. Speaker. Okejev, I represent the good people of Buruku, my dear colleagues. I'm from Benue State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move a motion for the discharge of committees on referrals of bills pursuant to Order 17, Rule 31G of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives. The House notes that the following bills were read a second time separately between 2015 and 2017 and referred to committees of the House for legislative actions, namely Local Industry Patronage Bill 2016, which was referred on the 19th of January 2017 to the Committee on Public Procurement. 2. Nigeria Agro Processing and Food Safety Service Commission Establishment Act, Bill, which was referred on the 19th of January 2016 to the Committee on Health Services and Agricultural Production and Services. 3. Federal Highways Amendment Bill, which was referred on the 26th of January 2016 to the Committee of Federal Road Safety Commission. 4. National Center for Agricultural Mechanization Amendment Bill, which was referred on the 28th of January 2016 to the Committee on Agricultural Production and Services. 5. Public-Private Partnership Regulatory Commission Bill, referred on the 28th of January 2016 to Special Duties Committee. And finally, my dear colleagues, Education National Minimum Standards and Establishment of Institutions Amendment Bill, referred on the 28th of January 2016 to Tertiary Education and Services Committee. Aware that the committees are here to present reports on the bills contrary to the provisions of Order 17, Rule 31G of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives, to wit, any matter referred to any committee shall be treated within 30 days. Otherwise, the committee shall stand discharged after 60 days and the matter committed to the Committee of the Whole for consideration. The House therefore resolves to discharge the committees above from the bills referred to them and commit same to the Committee of the Whole for consideration. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues,
I so move.
Honorable Dende.
Thank you. Federal constituency, I'm from Benue State. I stand to second the motion as moved by Chairman Rules and Business. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Sixth order of the day, honorable colleagues, a motion on need to expedite the completion of Aimba transmission substation in Kogi State, standing in the name of Honorable Hassan A. Omale. Honorable Omale is now invited to move the motion.
Honorable Speaker, my honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Hassan Omale. I represent Angpa, Omala, Alama Borough Federal Constituency of Kogi State. The motion is on the need for the completion of Ayangba transmission substation in Kogi State. The House notes with concern the increasing number of abandoned projects across the country, even when resources are appropriated to such projects or near completion. Further notes that the Ayangba transmission substation contract was awarded in 2007, but work at the site was stopped due to the demands of the contractor. And since then, neither the transmission company of Nigeria, DCN, nor the federal government has done anything to complete the project. Aware that the project has been copied in 2018 budget proposal before the National Assembly, and the transmission company of Nigeria, DCN, is contemplating moving the equipment at the site to its head office in Lagos for safekeeping. Worried that it will cost the transmission company of Nigeria, DCN, more to transport the equipment to Lagos and back when the project takes off than to pay security personnel to watch over the equipment at the Ayangba site. Further aware that the Ayangba transmission substation is a strategic substation to evacuate power generation by the Mambila power plant. When completed, then the transmission company of Nigeria, DCN expansion plan to upgrade it to 330 to 132 kV substation. Worried that the equipment at the Ayangba transmission substation is taken out of the site to the transmission company headquarters in Lagos as proposed, the equipment may not return. The House resolved to, one, all the transmission company of Nigeria, DCN, to stop the idea of moving the equipment to Lagos headquarters and employ the service of capable security outfit to keep watch on the site and expedite action on returning to the site. Two, mandate the company on power to liaise with the Minister of Power, Works and Housing to ensure the immediate take-up of the project and report back to the House in 4 weeks for further legislative action. As so moved.
Honorable Doedri.
The Right Honorable Speaker, my esteemed honorable colleagues, I remain Diri Doye, representing Yenagoa Kologuma Obokuma Federal Constituency of Bayelsa State. I rise to second the motion ably moved by my neighbor and colleague. I so second.
It's a motion bordering on infrastructure and in line with the provision of our rules. I put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Seventh order of the day is a motion on the need to erect perimeter fence around the Benin Airport and other airports in Nigeria, standing in the name of Honorable Johnson Oguma. Honorable Johnson is now invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. and my distinguished colleagues. I am Honorable Johnson Egwahide Oguma. I represent all the people of Esako Federal Constituency. I am from Edo State. Mr. Speaker, my motion this morning borders on the need to erect perimeter fence around the Benin Airport and other airports in Nigeria. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Chedi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues. My name is Garba Chede Amajulde, a member representing the good people of Baligasol Federal Constituency. I'm from Taraba State. I rise to second the motion, ably moved by Johnson Oguma. I so second. Thank you.
The motion relating to infrastructure as well, and I'll put the question. Those in favor of the motion, say aye. So what did you do? Honorable Johnson, can you now move your motion, please?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Johnson Egwahide Oguma. I represent all the people of Esako Federal Constituency. I'm from Edo State. Mr. Speaker, my motion is on the need to erect perimeter fence around the Benin Airport and other airports in Nigeria. The House notes that safety is key in aviation business and a global standard in the industry. Also note that safety measures go beyond flight safety, but include other security measures in and around the airports. The House recalls that in August 2013, a teenager boy sneaked into the tire compartment of Arik airplane after gaining access into the airport due to the lack of perimeter fence. Aware that recently, herds of cattle were found grazing indiscriminately in the Benin Airport without any barricade from the runway. Cognizant that these incessant breaches of safety could lead to serious accidents with colossal consequences, especially with the increasing number of over 1,500 passengers per day using the departures and the arrivals lounge of the Benin Airport. The House resolved to call on the Federal Ministry of Transportation to erect perimeter fences around the Benin Airport and other airports without perimeter fencing in Nigeria. To mandate the committees on aviation and legislative compliance to ensure compliance and report back within 8 weeks for further legislative action. Mr. Speaker and my distinguished colleagues, I so move.
Honorable Chede was the one that seconded the motion. You will have to repeat the ritual.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues. In the second genuine process, I rise. My name is Garba Chede Amajulde from Taraba State, representing people of Baligasol Federal Constituency. I rise to second the motion, ably moved by Honorable Johnson Oguma. I so second. Thank you very much.
So it's a motion bordering on infrastructure. And I'll put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. The ayes have it. Eighth order of the day, honorable colleagues, is a motion on devastating flood and erosion in Aseziga, community of Ndoni local government areas of Rivers State. Standing in the name of Honorable Uchuchuku Nam Obi, Honorable Nam Obi is now invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and my dear colleagues. My name is Uchuchuku Nam Obi, and I represent the good people of Ahoda West,
and Oba Ibemendon, the Federal Constituency from River State. Motion on the flood and erosion in Asea Zaga community in Ndoni, Oba Ibemendon, the Federal Constituency local government area. The House notes that the Asea Zaga is the second largest community in the Ndoni district and shares a common boundary with Ogwipele in Anambra State. The House also notes that the people of Asea Zaga depend on farming and fishing along the River Niger as their main source of livelihood. The House worried that the recent overflow of River Niger has resulted in devastating landslides and erosion in the community, causing untold hardship to the people as their schools, homes, farmlands have been washed away by flood. Cognizant that Asea Zaga community and many other bordering towns along the River Niger are constantly at the risk of landslide arising from the overflow of the River Niger, and therefore the need for an embankment to forestall the devastating effects of the overflow. The House disturbed that the coming of the rainy season, another overflow of River Niger will cause more havoc, or worse still, engulf the entire community, and therefore some submergence. The House, cognizant of the need to urgently send relief materials and help personnel to Asea Zaga to alleviate the deplorable condition of the people whose health is deteriorating from the effects of the recent disaster in the community, given the social vulnerability. The House resolves to urge the federal government to prioritize the construction of the embankment of River Niger along Ndoni communities. They have well over 4 communities that suffer from this same effect in order to forestall the overflow of the River Niger. To also urge the Nigerian Emergency Management Unit Agency, NEMA, to urgently send relief materials and help personnel to alleviate the deplorable state in Asea Zaga, and to finally mandate the Committees on Environment and Habitat and Emergency and Disaster to be prepared to ensure compliance and report back within 4 weeks to this House. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Blessing.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I am Steve Blessing. I represent Port Harcourt Federal Constituency 2. I'm a Rivers woman. I rise to support the motion ably moved by Honorable Uche Chukwunamobi. I so second.
Which Rivers woman? Which you mentioned? Rivers motion.
Honorable Namobi, please lead the debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Uche Chukwunamobi and I represent the good people of Ahadu West and Oba Emema Federal Constituency. I'm from River State. Mr. Speaker, this motion raises the need for intervention by this responsible and responsive House to come to the aid of Asea Zaga. Asea Zaga is a community, the second largest community in Ahadu West and Oba Emema Ndoni Federal Constituency. They've been inundated with flood and they've suffered landslide. This motion, if supported by my colleagues, as I hope, will ensure that the pupils and students who've been out of school will go back to school. It will ensure that Medicare, the health centers that they have, will come back to life, and there'll be a burst of economic activities. The dangers associated with flooding cannot be overemphasized. We know that flooding is ubiquitous in the country, and as such, calls for us to be more proactive rather than to be reactionary when it comes to the matters that affect the lives of our people. These are people who are inundated. These are people who are traumatized. They are displaced and need urgent attention. It will interest you to note that in 2012, there was no mitigation whatsoever, as it was in other parts of the country. Therefore, the call and the need for them to save the souls of the Asea Zaga people who are in dire need of government attention. I want to use this opportunity to also thank the Governor of Rivers State, because this motion is nearly belated. It's over 3 months. And he's been able to offer palliatives and mollify the people by awarding the projects. So it's a call for the federal government to do the needful, which is to come to the aid of people when there is a natural disaster and to ensure that they reimburse the Rivers State government of whatever expenditure would have been expended in trying to bring about palliatives for the people. Mr. Speaker and honorable colleagues, I hope and pray that you all support this motion because the people of Asia-Azaga, my constituents, will be very happy and will indeed feel like Nigerians once again. Thank you for listening, Mr. Speaker and my dear colleagues.
Honorable Femi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm Honorable Femi Adebanjo. I represent Alimosho, Federal Constituency of Lagos State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support this motion, and I even want to suggest that the federal government should have a ministry, should be flood ministry or flood-prone ministry. The whole eastern part of the West, they are prone to erosion. There is no state in eastern part of Nigeria that you will go and they do not have this problem of erosion. In Benin they have, in rivers they have, in Bayelsa they have, everywhere. And if there is a ministry monitoring this thing, there should be also an education to the citizens of eastern part of Nigeria. That is, at the beginning of the erosion, they should be able to sense it. They should be able to detect it and prevent it from developing to gully erosion. Mr. Speaker, erosion is a major problem, not only in rivers, and the federal government should pay attention to it before it gets to gully erosion. Doing this also will provide employment for the citizenry of the eastern part of Nigeria. I so move. That's my support, Mr. Speaker.
Any more contribution to the debate? I recognize Honorable Henry Achibong to move his amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Henry Achibong is my name. Mr. Speaker, the amendment is on the next motion, not this one. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yeah, Mr. Speaker, the amendment is on the next motion, not this one. Thank you.
So, honorable colleagues, having exhausted the debate, I'll put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Chede, you go back to your seat. The ninth order of the day, honorable colleagues, is a motion on need to address the recurring cases of deaths caused by generator fumes in Nigeria. Standing in the name of Honorable Emmanuel Akpan, Honorable Akpan is now invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleagues. I remain Honorable Emmanuel Akpan, representing the people of the College Benin, extending the Obonoga Federal Constituency and from Akwa Ibom. Mr. Speaker, my motion is on the need to address the recurring cases of death caused by generator fume in Nigeria. The House notes that there have been several reports of death caused by generator fume, which on many occasions have wiped out entire families. Saddened that one of such incidents occurred on June 30, 2017 in Lumumasi community in Rivers State, when a couple and four children were suffocated by generator fumes in their apartment. The House is also aware that many cases of death resulting from generator fumes are not reported, although there is an alarming increase in death arising from the use of generators. The House is worried
that despite the numerous incidents of death resulting from the use of generators, the federal government has not taken adequate measures to totally eliminate or substantially reduce the occurrence of the incident. Cognizant of Section 14, 2B of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended, which states that the security and welfare of the people shall be primary purpose of government. They have resolved to, 1, all the federal government to intensify its effort toward providing adequate power supply for Nigerian citizens in order to ensure a drastic reduction in the use of generators in Nigerian homes. 2, also all Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NEC, the National Electricity Management and Services Agency, NEMSA, and Electricity Distribution Company, DISCO, to jointly carry out public enlightenment campaign on the safe use of generators and mandate the Committee on Power and Legislative Compliance to ensure compliance and report back within 6 weeks for further legislative action. I so move.
Honorable Zephaniah Gisalo.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues. My name is Zephaniah Gisalo. I represent Abuja Municipal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from FCC. I write to second the motion as moved by Honorable Actor, Mr. Speaker, as a second. Thank you.
Honorable Akpan, please lead the debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Once again, my name is Honorable Emmanuel Aban, representing the wonderful, we call it Oboloka, the federal constituency, and from Akwa Ibom State. The Speaker, this is a very straightforward motion. This motion is important to all of us in this very hollow chamber. Over the years, there have been numerous cases of suffocation and death caused by generators in many homes in the country. On many occasions, Mr. Speaker, entire families have been wiped out as a result of generator fumes. We can recall on the 30th June 2017, a family in Omasi, the entire family was completely wiped out as a result of these generator fumes. And I believe that this should be an issue that this House should be taken as very, very important. Therefore, it is unacceptable by this time that we cannot allow this issue to continue again and again in this country. Mr. Speaker, I want to also make it known that several occasions, media houses have been reported this matter, but unfortunately, government has not done enough to square this situation. I therefore implore my colleagues to support this motion so that many homes can be saved in this country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Dr. Henry Achibong, representing the good people of Itu, Ibiono Federal Constituency in Akwa Ibom State. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the mover of this motion because it is very, very germane, and I want to support him wholeheartedly. Mr. Speaker, in moving this motion, he quoted Section 14(2)(b) of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, stating that the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. Mr. Speaker, this section of the Constitution does not only imply the rich people, it implies everybody. Unfortunately, those that are actually most times affected by these colossal losses are in the poor cadre. Mr. Speaker, in supporting this motion, I want to say that for the government to solve this problem, they have to look at it holistically. For example, he has said that there have to be an improvement in power supply. If we have power supply 24 hours in a day, there's obviously no reason why we should be using the smaller generators. Now, apart from that, let us ask ourselves, why is it that people put generators in their houses? They are not comfortable putting generators in their houses. A lot of them know the implication of it, but the problem is the security. Because when they put these generators outside, people are going to steal this generator. And so unknown to them, by trying to avoid people stealing their generator, they put it in their kitchen, in their corridors, and then they don't know that the fumes, carbon monoxide that comes out of the generator is very harmful to their health. Mr. Speaker, in order to solve this problem, it means that we have to increase the security in this country. And the security goes further than just providing police security or civil defense or paramilitary and whatever. Security comes in improving the lives of the people. Once we improve the life of the people and make sure that the basic needs of the people are met, then people are not likely to go and steal things as small as generator. And so people will be more confident to put their generators outside. Another way of solving this problem is because this problem affects everybody. Those of us who are dealing with things that has to do with power, they go about vandalizing the power lines and the accessories just to make sure that the federal government does not meet up with the power demands, just because they want to sell their generators. Because they are very rich people. They sponsor people to destroy and vandalize these issues, or these power lines and accessories, because they feel that they are not affected. But what I want to tell them today is that if they are not affected, their brothers and sisters who are poor are going to be affected. So there has to be a lot of information, because a lot of you too do not also know the implication of putting a generator in their houses. Now let me give you a different experience on this. One day some people were traveling in a bus, and they were traveling in a bus and the boot of the bus was not closed properly. Now as they were traveling, and I'm sure some of us have had the experience of sitting at the back, inside a bus at the back, you notice that the fumes are so, they begin to affect your eyes, your nose and everything, because the boots of the bus or car was not closed. So people began to inhale the fumes. I was in the hospital one day when they just drove a bus to my hospital, and what I discovered was that almost the people that sat the two seats close to the back were all unconscious. And we never knew what was the cause of that unconsciousness. But one person was able to profile something that the fumes when they were moving was too much. What am I trying to say? Even those that travel in buses, if the bus you're traveling inside is not properly closed, and if there is no good ventilation as far as the bus is concerned, please, Nigeria should not enter those buses. Because as the buses are moving, the fumes are entering the back of the bus, and that could also lead to carbon monoxide poisoning. I want to say that carbon monoxide poisoning is very, very dangerous, and it is something that you will not know because it does not have smell, it does not have any taste. So if you're using it, yeah, it's odorless. So if you're using it in the house, and one thing is that it is one of the most potent anesthetic agents, because you're sleeping, it begins to induce more sleeping to you. So you just find out that you just go into a very painless death. So I want to urge Nigerians that it is not something that you have to leave for the government alone. It is something that involves everybody. Like the president used to say, the change begins with me. If I love my brother in my community, then I must make sure that my brother must not die. If I see my brother putting up a generator in the house, I should be able to inform my brother that this is very dangerous to your health. We should not be leaving everything to government. So, Mr. Speaker, I support this motion and I thank the mover of this motion, and I urge the House to let this motion be passed. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Kola, Adekola.
Thank you, the Honorable Speaker and my distinguished colleagues. My name is Honorable Shegun Alexander Adekola, member representing Ekiti South Federal Constituency 1 of Ekiti State. I like to support this motion And I thank the mover of the motion. He has done a very good job. Exhaust fume from generators or carbon-based of any carbon-based fuel is a silent killer. And it has sent so many people to the early grave without knowing it. And the sensitization of people is not enough. People are not being sensitized because they don't know. In so many homes, in Lagos, in Abuja, and most densely populated area, they call it, I pass my neighbor, generator. Everybody put it in their corridor. And the unburnt gas of carbon monoxide is very, very dangerous. Because when it inhaled, it combined to form carboxyhemoglobin, blocking the carriage of oxygen to the blood to function. Therefore, it sends people to their early grave. I will not blame people much. It's because of the situation in Nigeria. Epileptic supply of power. The whole day, 3 days, 4 days, who have any supply of power. And they might want to power their refrigerator, do a lot of things, they will start to buy generator. Not minding the fumes coming out from it. At times, some people lock it inside their room because of the fear that it might be stolen. The moral decadence in Nigeria accounted equally for this. We all remember in those days where we normally be a low fence or no fence at all. Nobody cares to steal anything. And you are not bothered, you can sleep with your 2 eyes closed. But nowadays, even with a fence like a prison yard, you are afraid that armed robber can still jump in. That is why they put it in an enclosed place. And when you put generator in an enclosed place, the unburnt gas called carbon monoxide, you are dead. That means your life will become short. So I thank you for the motion, and I want the Honorable House to support this motion with the speed of light, so that the federal government, the executive will call on the National Regulatory Agency to sensitize people. I so support Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Pardon, Honorable Midran, you want to go and rest? This is perhaps the last item on our other paper. So, amendment, Honorable Henry Achibon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Once again, I remain Honorable Dr. Henry Achibon. Mr. Speaker, I represent the good people of Itu, the Ibiono Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, my amendment is very simple. I am amending this resolution number 2 to add the words Ministry of Information. I read it thus: agency NEMSA, Electricity Distribution Company, DISCOs, and the Ministry of Information to jointly carry out public enlightenment campaigns on the safe use of generators. I so amend, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Amidran. Honorable Princess Ayo, you are seconding.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Ayo Omidiro, member representing the people of Ayedade, Ilewale, Ishoko Federal Constituency from the state of Osun. I rise to second the amendment as moved. I so second.
Those in favor of the amendment say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Those in favor of the motion as amended say aye. Those against it say nay. The ayes have it. Another amendment from Honorable Engineer Sani Bala.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name.
Have I put the question on the motion as amended? That's too late. It's unfortunate because you didn't send your amendment on time. Maybe that's why. So I had it in my subconscious that there was only one amendment. So we'll move to the next item. The 10th order of the day is a motion on alleged grant of amnesty by Governor Rochas Okorocha to persons who had been declared wanted by the Rivers State Security Council, standing in the name of Honorable O.K. Chinda and 11 other honorable members. Honorable Chinda is now invited to move the motion. Oh, okay. Honorable Betty is a co-sponsor, so Honorable Betty will take the motion. We are already rejoicing that Chinda is not around, so we are joining.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Betty Apiafi. I represent Abua Odoa Lahuda East Federal Constituency. I'm from Rivers State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleague, I move that the alleged grant of amnesty by Governor Rochas Okorocha to persons who have been declared wanted by the Rivers State Security Council. The House notes with concern.
Speaker.
The House notes with concern the recent.
Let her, Honorable Nana, let her move the motion. If you have a point of order, you tell us after she has moved the motion. Please.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the House notes with concern the recent grant of amnesty to some persons who had been declared wanted by the Rivers State Security Council, consisting of the Rivers State Governor, Rivers State Governor, Commissioner of Police, Head of Army, Navy, Air Force and Security, and Civil Defense Corps in the state. The House is aware of the deadly attack carried out by notorious Don Wani, now deceased, led criminal gang in Omoko Town, Rivers State, on the 1st of January 2018, leading to the death of 23 innocent citizens who were returning home from crossover service. The House also notes that following the said dastardly attack, the Rivers State Government and the State Security Council, acting on security reports on or about the 8th day of January 2018, declared 30 persons suspected to be part of a criminal gang that has been terrorizing the state wanted, with a monetary sum of 20 million ransom placed on each of them. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the House is aware that at least 4 of the criminal gang members, including the younger brother of the said Don Wani, were killed in a gun duel between the security agencies and the criminals. The House is further aware that the alleged amnesty granted by Governor Rochas Okorocha in concert with some highly placed politicians to persons who have been declared wanted by the security agencies in Rivers State was clearly in bad faith, unimaginable, preposterous, and part of a wider plan to reintegrate and arm these criminals into society ahead of the 2019 general elections. Mr. Speaker, the House notes that Nigeria is an integration of Nigeria who purportedly grant amnesty to persons who are at present on the wanted list of the Security Council of the sister state. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I so move.
Okay, yeah, point of order now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Raphael Nana.
Sorry, Honorable Nana. I was told that Honorable Betty didn't finish reading the motion.
Yeah. Sorry, Mr. Speaker. Sorry. I didn't read. I'm so sorry. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the House notes that even the presidential amnesty program, which was granted ex-militants in the Niger Delta, who were reintegrated into society in 2009, was a proclamation with a definite timeline of 60 days grace period, after which no one would benefit thereof, except from further proclamation or an act of the National Assembly. Because that the Rivers State government had earlier raised an alarm over plans by the federal government to grant amnesty to some of these people who have been declared wanted by the State Security Council, yet nothing was done to avert same at the time. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, worried that a state governor within an indivisible and indissoluble federation of Nigeria would deliberately purport to grant amnesty to persons or states who hitherto had lived and maintained peaceful coexistence, and in turn lead to serious tension and the fragile peace prevailing in both states and other parts of the Niger Delta region, and indeed the country at large. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, we are convinced that if the action of the Imo State Governor and the activities of those highly placed persons and politicians are not immediately checked, it could be in the long run plunge Imo and Rivers State, and indeed the entire Niger Delta region, into another round of avoidable violence and total breakdown of law and order. The House therefore resolves to condemn the alleged grant of amnesty by the Imo State Governor to the unwanted persons. 2. The House urged the federal government. The House resolved to urge the federal government and law enforcement agencies not to recognize the amnesty allegedly granted to wanted persons by Governor Rochas Okorocha and ensure the immediate arrest and prosecution of the wanted persons. The House mandates the Committee on Legislative Compliance to ensure implementation of these resolutions. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Honorable Nana, before we second, listen to your point of order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Raphael Nana Iwokwe, and I represent the good people of Ayazo-Tembise Federal Constituency of Imo State. Mr. Speaker, my point of order is Constitutional Order, Section 232. Mr. Speaker, Section 232 clearly states that issue of jurisdiction of issues between states shall lie with the Supreme Court. Mr. Speaker, let me read. The Supreme Court shall, with your permission, the Supreme Court shall, to the exclusion of any other court, have original jurisdiction in any dispute between the Federation and the states, or between states, emphasis, between states, if and insofar as that dispute involves any question, whether of law or fact, Mr. Speaker, with emphasis whether of law or fact, on which the existence or extent of a legal right depends. Mr. Speaker, the issue before us is a concluded executive action of a state government, of both the Rivers State government and also of the Imo State government. And of the Imo State government, acted on the laws, amnesty laws of Imo State, which is a concluded action and have been gazetted. And the issue here is that the lawmaker from Rivers State is questioning the executive action taken by the executive governor of Imo State. And the issue is, do we have jurisdiction? And between states, if there are disputes on any issue, either of law or fact, the Constitution is clear that the Rivers State, like they have done on other issues, oil well, sharing rights, derivation, to take it up to Supreme Court for Supreme Court to decide and unveil that amnesty granted to the said citizens. Now, the other issue is the amnesty granted was granted on Imo State amnesty, and as citizens of Imo State, these people are from the oil-producing areas of Imo State, and this is the issue. Mr. Speaker, look at the prayer. The prayer says, number one, for that matter, condemn the alleged grant of amnesty by the Imo State governor to the wanted criminals. Condemn, which is inviting us to sit on appeal on the concluded executive action of a state government. And I feel that will be dragging us into the arena of now being a jury in a matter we should ordinarily be neutral and allow the judiciary to do their work. This is my position. Thank you.
Leader of the House.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I hesitate to contribute to this bill, but I think it is glaring on its face that it is a constitutional issue which this House has no jurisdiction whatsoever. Mr. Speaker, it will become a legislative overreach for us to attempt to settle a dispute between two states, just like you have rightly quoted the Constitution. Let Let me read section 212 of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker. The governor
Honorable Nam Obi, there's a sustained point of order on the floor. So except and until we have decided on this point of order, you will not be recognized to move another point of order. So if you want to contribute to this point of order, after the leader has spoken, you can now speak. So leader, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To further buttress Honorable Nana's section 232 reference, let me read section 212. It says, that's the Constitution, prerogative of mercy. The governor may grant any person concerned with or convicted. So in other words, the or. Mr. Speaker, if I may get your ear, please. Section 212 of the Constitution says the governor may grant any person concerned with or convicted of an offense. My point is that all is disjunctive. In other words, any person concerned with any offense created by law. In other words, you don't even have to be convicted. You don't even have to be convicted. It says, grant any person concerned with or convicted of any offense created by any law of a state, of a party, of a state, not the state, a state. There's a difference between a state and the state. So, a state So, Mr. Speaker, therefore, Mr. Speaker, what has just transpired in the last 2 seconds shows that there is a dispute between states. Where is the proper forum? Where is the proper forum to settle that dispute? Mr. Speaker, there was a time when there was a dispute between Lagos and Ogun State because they neighbor each other. Where do you pay your taxes? That matter could never have been resolved here. That matter could never have been resolved here in the National Assembly. So, Mr. Speaker, having raised Norochas or Korocha and ensure the immediate arrest and prosecution of the wanted persons, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Mr. Speaker, let me refer to a paragraph in this motion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Paragraph 5. Which is the poison pill in the chalice. It says, further aware. In other words, we know for a fact. That's what further aware means. It's not speculative. We know for a fact. Further aware that the alleged amnesty granted by Governor Okorocha in concert with some highly placed politicians to persons who have been declared wanted by the security agencies was clearly in bad faith, unimaginable, preposterous, and here is the clincher, and part of a wider plan to reintegrate and arm these criminal elements into society ahead of the 2019 general elections. Mr. Speaker, this motion cannot stand on this floor. This motion cannot stand on this floor, Mr. Speaker. This motion cannot stand on this floor. You are inciting the public against the federal government. Who are these highly placed people? And who is planning for 2019 elections? Mr. Speaker, I stand firm on the ground that this motion has no place. This motion has no place. This motion has no place on the floor of this house. If Rivers State has a problem with what Imo State has done, apply section 232 and go to the courts.
Order, honorable colleagues, order.
Honorable Boma, please. Honorable Boma, good head. Order.
Honorable colleagues, please, we're leaders here, and we represent Nigeria. Let's not try and divide ourselves into Rivers members here or members from Imo State, please. That's not what we're here for. We're here to look at the truth, what is truthful, what is it that we can do. You know, in furtherance of our collective responsibility as leaders to bring solutions to problems, but not to exacerbate the problem. So anyone who is contributing henceforth, please remove issues of sentiment aside. Let's look at the law. What is it that we can do in order to solve this problem? Honorable Abonta.
Honorable Gafara Mary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Uzoma Kimabonga, Mr. Speaker, I'm from Abia State. I appear to be between the two states. Mr. Speaker, I want to approach this argument of debate from the point of reality. Sentiments apart.
Order. Honorable Aminu. Honorable Aminu Suleiman, order. Honorable Suleiman.
I still enjoy the protection of
Leader of the House.
The point of reality and point of fact and point 4. If you read section 212 as canvassed by the leader of the House, he seems to have read it disjunctively. The totality of section 121 should be read conjunctively. It is talking about states. The issue of granting prerogative of mercy contemplates actions, crimes within that state. If you read conjunctively. Mr. Speaker, for the purpose of asking, if there is a pending matter, for example, one is wanted in Abuja, can one go to Calabar and declare them free, speculative? But I think the governor has the right, for he said, to, after consultation, to grant amnesty. Probably they may not be the same offense. These are issues we may know. But if it's the same offense for which they are wanted and declared in Port Harcourt, the question and the law is, can he grant pardon?
Honorable Goke.
Honorable members, we need to be careful so we do not find the embers of trouble. We need to be careful what we do. Sentiments shouldn't guide us. If the issue I want to ask tonight, are they declared wanted for specific wanted criminal issues? Were those issues committed in Imo State? If the answer is an affirmative, that they come in Imo State, then it's right. If they are not, then they are not in compliance of this law. The leader trying to read a state and the state is like taking the narrow road of interpretation. That's not the Tory law. There must be the interpretation rule that gives it the intendment and the spirit and meaning and the purpose of those who wrote the law. The meaning there, the intendment there remains within your jurisdiction of the state. But it cannot go otherwise. Otherwise, one government will see somewhere else and pardon. Let me give you a specific example. We have been hunted seriously by Boko Haram in Northeast. Can Governor Rochas grant Boko Haram whatever amnesty? Can he?
Order. Honorable Kaita, order. Honorable colleagues, order. Honorable colleagues. Order. Honorable TJ Yusuf. Honorable TJ Yusuf, order. Honorable TJ Yusuf. Honorable TJ Yusuf, Kababunu, order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the protection. May I still ponder aloud? Can Governor Rochas or even Wike declare the Benue killers wanted or give them amnesty? The answer is no. Therefore, I think that this motion should be allowed to be debated. From my own mind, if the offenses for which they are granted amnesty are within the bounds of Imo State, they enjoy the amnesty. That does not preclude. And if I may ask, leader, I also want to answer from you. The amnesty granted, is the amnesty of what was done? As we are speaking now, until the motion is argued, we may not even know the amnesty.
Order, honorable colleagues, order. Listen in silence.
I think members should listen to one another in silence. Mr. Speaker, if only if this motion is allowed to be debated, we will know whether the amnesty granted relates to offenses committed in Imo State or the one in Rivers. For now, it may be too early to say, do not discuss it. These are purely security issues, and it is within the bounds of this house to look at it. We represent the people and no more or less. So we should be careful with how we act on sentiment. Otherwise, we will be setting a dangerous precedent where governors will now begin to bring overriding issues. May I also ask Mr. Speaker, can my governor say those who did IPOP, I declare amnesty, you are forgiven against the federal? The answer is no. So we should not shy away from the reality
Honorable Baraka,
as required of
Honorable Ikara, Honorable Ikara.
Mr. Speaker.
Deputy Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Ikara, order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm Chukwuka Onyema, represent Obaru Federal Constituency of Anambra State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I think there comes a time in our lives as members of this house, of chambers, that we stop being partisan in everything we do. Listen to what I'm saying. People died on the 1st of January. People died on the 1st of January in that place. 23 people died. I know you're telling me about
Deputy Minority Leader. Deputy Minority Leader. Please, please.
Order, honorable colleagues. Order.
You are not addressing members. Can you address the chair? Can you address the chair, please? No.
Order.
Please. Deputy Minority Leader, please, let's not turn the city into a shouting match. You have no right to address them. Once you are recognized, can you listen to me, please? Can you listen to me, please? Please. You are leader on this floor. Okay. The Deputy Minority Leader has spoken. He chose to speak to some members instead of addressing the chairs. Rules and business.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Okay, Jeff. Please, can I have your attention, my dear colleagues? My dear colleagues.
Order, honorable colleagues. Order. Honorable Kenta, go back to your seat. Honorable Boma, go back to your seat.
My dear colleagues, can I please have your attention? Please, I have the floor, so can I have your attention? I have the floor, my dear colleagues, so can I have your attention, please? After I speak, everybody will be allowed to speak. My dear colleagues, I don't want to get entangled in this dispute, whether politically or stately or whatever. let's say this, I don't have any position, but it is clear, my dear colleagues, that from the point of order that was raised by Honorable Nanan, there appears to be a state law. Because, wait now, you have not even heard me.
Honorable Nana, please take your seat. Honorable colleagues, Honorable Betty Abiabi, Honorable Adente, Honorable Adente, Honorable Adente, order. Order, honorable colleagues. Order, honorable colleagues. Honorable Betty.
My dear colleagues, the question is,
Honorable Bande,
the question is, if there is a state law, can it bind any state outside of Imo State? So, that for me, we shouldn't be splitting hairs. Because whether it's been declared, they have been pardoned in Imo or given amnesty in Imo, I mean, it doesn't stop rivers from exercising their decision and going after them. So, as far as I'm concerned, yes, because if indeed, my dear colleagues,
honorable colleagues, if you don't allow me to speak, I will freeze up the debate.
Order.
Anyone who wants to speak should put down his hands, please. Honorable Kaita, that's not even your seat, so you don't have the right to speak. Chairman, rules and business. Please conclude the points you are making.
Order.
Please. Otherwise, I will not recognize you to speak. If you don't want to allow someone to speak, why should you be listened to?
Don't use this. My dear colleagues, the point I was making is that can the so-called amnesty that was granted in Imo State bind anybody outside of Imo State? No, it cannot. So, River State should not, in my opinion, be undone, because a crime is a crime. If indeed these people have committed an offense, in River State, I think it's a worthless exercise outside of Imo State. If indeed the security agents get their hands on this thing. So, I don't want us to take this matter out of hand. I don't want to begin to direct the security agencies not to obey anything, any law that is made, because we have come on the floor here and questioned the security agencies for not obeying laws elsewhere. But the point is that that law will be worthless outside of Imo State. Honestly, to anybody outside of Imo State. This is very unfortunate. If indeed he did grant, it will be very unfortunate, but I think on the legality of it, on the legality of the matter, within his jurisdiction, he acted within the law that was made in Imo State.
Okay, honorable colleagues, since we are not prepared to listen to the debate anymore, I think it will not be irresponsible to continue this debate, really. Because nobody is prepared to listen to a member speak. So, okay, if you are ready now, all of you put down your hands. Honorable Nam Obi, I recognize you to speak. But if the House continue to be a bit noisy, I'll be constrained to freeze up the debate.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and my very distinguished colleagues. My name is Uchechukwu Namobi, and I represent the good people of Ahodo West and Oma Ibema Ndoni Federal Constituency. I'm from Rivers State. Mr. Speaker, I would like to inform the House that I am from Omok, and this is the town where 23 people were killed on January 1st. So I need you to actually appreciate where I am coming from. Now, if we continue to say what they're saying, it will amount to dancing on the graves of our people who died on the 1st of January. We have had to live with the horror of militancy. We have had to live with the terror of people terrorizing us for the past 8 years. This motion comes at the best of times. I do not understand if it will be right for me to stand here and ask the governor of Lagos State to grant Shekau amnesty. This will be setting bad precedents because what will happen is our people will move from one state, they will commit crime and run to another and nothing will happen. What we're saying is there is interloping, there is meddlesomeness, there is interference in our laws. If a crime is committed in Anelga, let me also tell the House that we have Ebema in two states. One part, Ohachi, is in River State and the other is in Imo State. If crime is committed and the kingpins have been killed and these men ran to Imo State and are granted amnesty, what is it that they're really doing? They have other channels that they could have reached the states. We have the intergovernmental agencies or intergovernmental chat routes where our governor could have been contacted, the local government chairman would have been contacted, the House of Reps member would have been contacted, even the commissioner would have been contacted. So for this to go on, and I hear that this matter cannot be heard, it's rather preposterous if you ask me. So I'm calling on this honorable House under personal explanation because I am directly affected, the Onelga people are directly affected, the Rivers people are also affected. I pray that we hear this motion so that the right thing will be done, which is bring these culprits to book, no matter where they run to. Whether they're granted amnesty or not, it's only the federal government that has the prerogative. It's a legal issue, I understand, but it's only the federal government that can grant amnesty to whoever it deems fit. So with this, I hope that Mr. Speaker and my colleagues will support this motion and give it accelerated hearing and let these guys, this culprit, this kidnappers be brought to book. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable colleagues, I hope you know that we have not even started a debate on the motion. No. Wait, please. I want to redirect what we're doing now. Everything we're saying is to advise me to decide based on the constitutional point of order raised by Honorable Nana, and not to bring extraneous issues. It's just the point of order now. Is it a dispute between state and the federation or between states and states? Is it something that we don't have jurisdiction? Is that only the Supreme Court can decide that? That's all. Before we even start considering the debate on the merits. We are not there yet. The motion has not even been seconded. Honorable Zachary.
Mr. Speaker, my name is Zachary Mohammed. I represent Parotin Kayama, Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Kwara State. And I am the acting whip. Mr. Speaker, I just want to comment this way. Colleagues have been divided over party lines. I want to advise Mr. Speaker that this subject matter refer to relevant committees of the House to advise us in the next 2 days and get back to the debate, Mr. Speaker. So that tensions, we could look at these issues as nationalists that we are, rather than taking sides, Mr. Speaker. That's my submission.
Sir. Mr. Speaker.
No, I call for advice, so he doesn't have to stand on any point of order to advise me. I call for advice. The upcoming senior advocate, TJ Yusuf, I saw you with the Constitution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, my dear God, for the privilege. I'm TJ Yusuf. I represent the people of Kababunu Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I go back to the section the leader of the House read, as ably articulated by Honorable Abonta, that the portion read by the leader of the House, 212, was specific about the state law. And in the course of this argument, one of my colleagues, I don't know if it's an official position, canvassed that the offense can be committed were within the jurisdiction of Imo State. By implication, he's saying that they were granted amnesty for offenses committed in Imo State. Mr. Speaker, we are yet to have a state police, to have a federal police. By implication, it is natural that our police cross-pollinate ideas and information, intelligence report. I expect that before an amnesty is granted, there will be a security report as per the nature of affairs committed. And I believe that the information about rivers will naturally flow to Imo. I'm appealing, in line with Honorable Zachary said, that first of all, let's ascertain, is it that there were offenses committed in Imo? Is this section 212 referring to offense committed anywhere in Nigeria or within the state? Mr. Speaker, if it is an offense committed within Imo State, and Imo State pardon is specific about Imo State, we will get to know. However, what brought about this argument? Simple. Of something happened in January 1st, people were killed. Military men went after the offenders or presumed offenders. One of the leaders was killed, others fled out of the state. It is natural if you hear that such men are given amnesty to raise our eyebrow. So, Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, in support of what Honorable Zachary said, I feel we should give specific responsibility to that committee to ascertain that a fresh offense in Imo State. Two, is it that the Commissioner of Police and Commissioner of Police in Rivers State do not have a platform to share information? Three, is your law upon which they are granted amnesty an Imo State law or a federal law? Mr. Speaker, that's my position.
1 minute, please. Mr. Speaker, concentrate. Honorable Aminu Sule, Chairman Tashari.
Honorable Oguma Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and my fellow colleagues. I am Honorable Johnson Agwagide Oguma. I represent all the people of Isako Federal Constituency. I'm from Edo State. Mr. Speaker, my stake concerning the issue at stake is that the governor of Imo State is a governor of a state, and while there is also a governor in Rivers. In this motion, the body of this motion, I have not seen where they said the governor of Imo State granted an amnesty across the borders. That is one. And secondly, Mr. Speaker, I'm aware even Section 211 gave power to Attorney General. Even an armed robbery case that is ongoing, Attorney General can stop an armed robbery case that is already in the court of law. And also too, the same constitution gave power to a governor for amnesty or whether prerogative of mercy. What I am saying, if it is that, Mr. Speaker, the only way and the only solution that anything that can stop the Imo State governor from granting whether prerogative of mercy or amnesty within the state of jurisdiction is solely an amendment taking the power of a governor to grant amnesty or prerogative of mercy from the Constitution. Because even if an Attorney General who is under a governor by the power given under Section 211 in the Constitution can even stop a criminal case that is already ongoing. And the governor of Imo State has only granted an amnesty or prerogative of mercy within the state. Even in the US, you discover that a crime that is committed in one state, a criminal runs across the border to another state. Is safe because the law in that state. So, Mr. Speaker, in summary, Mr. Speaker, I'm still on the floor. Mr. Speaker, I'm still on the floor.
Honorable Johnson, please note that you are advising the chair, please. Yes.
Honorable Dan Brown, go back to your seat.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Dan Brown, go back to your seat.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Aminu Sal.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Please, there's no point of order. No point of order will be entertained at now.
until I decide on this point of order. Honorable Johnson, please round up.
Johnson, sit down now. You are finished now. Sit down. Sit down, Johnson, sit down.
Please, can you round up?
Point of order. Sit down now.
Your mic.
I don't have your mic. Come.
Honorable Bashir Babale, and then after him I will rule.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Babale Bashir. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, we need to remember that we are human and we are created by God. Whatever we are doing today will account for it in the day hereafter. Agreed. This is electioneering period, whereby we'll have divided opinion. That everybody will stand for his party. Every one of us will stand for his state. But I want to remind us today, the entire world is watching. We are talking of humanity. Just yesterday, Mr. Speaker, we concluded the Senate concluded security summit, which dwell on the issue of insecurity in Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, we are elected here. We are the few privileged Nigerians, 360 of us out of 180 million Nigerians. We are here not because we are superior than others. We are only here because God the Almighty elected us, choose us to come here and decide for Nigerians. Mr. Speaker, agreed we have constitutional issues. Mr. Speaker, agreed we have divided opinions. Mr. Speaker, agreed some part of many of our members are not comfortable with the body of the motion because of partisan reason or because of individual reason. Mr. Speaker, what I'm advising the House is we are talking of human life wasted January 2018. And somebody is saying we should investigate. Yes, there will be some errors in the body of the motion. So what I'm saying and what I'm advising my colleagues is we can amend the body of this motion and ask the relevant committee to investigate and find out the truth about this. Even if we don't have the jurisdiction, we can advise those who have the power over the security of life and property of Nigerians. That is my position, Mr. Speaker.
Well, honorable colleagues, I don't think it's fitting for us to belabor this issue. And having listened to all the counsels that have been given, to enable me rule on the point of order raised by Honorable Nana, instead of getting the matter very clear, everything is becoming hazy. In fact, the more counsel I get, the more confused I am myself. So I think what we can do is simple. It's not very clear. We have had allegations that maybe the governor was acting in concert with some people. It's there in the body of the motion, which is worrisome to some section of members. And the elegance is likely going to be prejudiced or prejudiced. Whether it's in court, we can even debate it. That's what I'm saying. Now that it's not even in court, that's the more reason why we should even talk about it. Then there are allegations that these offenses were committed in Rivers, but the amnesty came from another state. Whether in a federation that can be done, for instance, the neighboring states of Bauchi and Gombe, a criminal in Gombe is granted amnesty in Bauchi. You know, these are questions that we cannot just determine and know the truth here. So what I will do is to refer this matter to maybe some eggheads in the House, about 3 of them,
to advise us as to how we can proceed, to advise us as to how we can proceed. Because tempers are high, and the likelihood is that if we take a decision in the heat of passion like this, we may get it wrong. So I will now refer this matter to the Chairman, Committee on Justice, Ethics and Privileges, and because it involves security issues, Chairman, Committee on National Security and Public Safety, to advise us as to how to proceed. Look at all the constitutional issues, all the legal issues, and then advise us. And if we receive the advice in the positive, then the motion will be seconded and we'll take up the debate. But if it's in the negative, then may God may God have mercy on the soul of the motion. So there's no amendment. The matter is referred to those committee of 3, and they have maximum of 1 week to report back to the House. Leader, motion for adjournment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I rise to move that this House stand adjourned till tomorrow 11 a.m. I so move.
Rules and business.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second the motion for adjournment as moved by the Leader of the House.
House hereby adjourned to tomorrow 11 a.m.